Website Decoded.
Hi guys, William Rutledge here. I have been getting this question a lot, so I thought I would try to put together a quick tutorial to help you figure out the best way to build a relationship on Twitter. There are a number of strategies that you can move forward, but one of the ones that I find that is extremely effective in not only inserting yourself in the conversation, but helping to brand yourself as an authority or your company as the authority, is to try and target an industry leader, someone that's inside your niche that has a lot of clout on these social media platforms, and Twitter specifically. So for this example, we're just going to use more of a general marketing personality. He does a lot of podcasts, everything like that. I have followed him a little bit. I've done some research, and I think that him in particular is a very genuine person and engages with his audience on Twitter. So I thought he'd be a good example for this. So we are inside Twitter right now. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do a quick search for Pat Flynn, who is a fantastic, business coach. He owns a site called Smart Passive Income. I find his information extremely helpful, so I thought I would jump right in and show you. So in looking at this situation, let's say that I haven't started. I just followed him recently, but let's say that I haven't followed him. The first thing that you're going to want to do is just do a little research on Pat and his likes, his dislikes, his communication style, how frequent he tweets, what his marketing strategies are. You can learn a lot just by looking at someone's Twitter page. For example, you notice that there are 63,000 people following what he has to say, but that he follows back, so that that at least there's some level of engagement. Sometimes you see celebrities and whatnot, and they'll have 1 million followers, but they'll have 70 people that they're following. So to me, that shows that they want to remain a private thing. They'll give a glimpse of their life to their audience and whatnot, but generally they're not going to engage with you and want to reciprocate and help you build a following, help you promote whatever you want to do. So I think this is a good thing to look for. I mean, normally you want to see a ratio of like 2 to 1, or 1 to 1, as far as perfect engagement goes. But everyone has a different strategy on who they want to follow and what they want to do. So just keep that in mind. But looking through his consistency in his tweeting, you'll notice that he's on a significant amount of time. So it shows a good level of engagement. It also shows that when you go through and you see these type of retweets and replies to conversation, that he's willing to engage with his audience, and he has a general desire to help people. So that's another indicator that this would be a good industry person to join the conversation on. So first thing that you need to do is obviously follow them, get subscribed to what they have going on. It's only going to help. Now, most of the times you will probably fall into the trap of you follow the industry expert, but they don't follow you back just yet. And that's generally because, they're not just going to blindly follow you. They want to make sure that you're going to bring something to the table for all of the people that they talk about. So you're going to need to build a little rapport with these people first before you can tweet them and say, hey, I'd be honored if you would, follow me back or whatever. I mean, it's a very reciprocal relationship that you need to build with these people. So, be very subtle in the very beginning of trying to get their attention. This is exactly like offline relationship building. This isn't a situation where if I come up to you and I'm a stranger and I go, hey, you want to be friends? Hey, you want to be friends? Hey, would you like to be friends? That probably is not going to be a strong strategy for me making friends with you. So keep that in mind when you're doing this kind of stuff too, because you really need to be you need to be honest and genuine, but you also need to be subtle in the way that you do things. Now, that's not to say that you only put out one tweet. Like if I just did something for Pat and said, hey Pat, thanks for having me on, or thanks for letting me follow you or something, and then I don't ever tweet again. Well, he's got a ton of followers. I mean, he's the stream of information that's coming in, the chances of him actually seeing that one tweet that I put out isn't going to be very good. So we really need to work on consistency and making sure that we try to get in front of him, or we try to join as many conversations as we can and provide valuable information. So in order to do that, in order to get Pat's attention, we're just using him as an example, of course, but in order to get his attention, I have a couple strategies that I want to talk about really quickly to get his attention. So number one would be retweeting Pat's information. So, he's got a new book that I researched and found out he has a new book that's coming out. It's called, I think, Let's Go. One of the things that I can do is anytime that he would post on his Twitter feed about his new book would be, hey, I found a great new book. I mean, let's look at maybe something along the lines of this. It's like, I'm loving this new book by Pat Flynn. Make sure that it shows that I'm connecting him to the conversation, so he will absolutely see. Well, the hopes is that he will absolutely see that I'm writing about his new book. I'm calling him a genius. I'm complimenting him. Everything's very positive. I just kind of want to hype him up a little bit and show that what he has value, and I'm giving him basically a very quick testimonial of his ability. So, people love this kind of stuff. Be genuine when you're trying to do this stuff. Don't just try to be, hypey, fluffy marketing guy, because people will see through that, after a while, and that's not a good way to build a relationship. But if I'm genuinely moved by this, then I'm going to send this type of tweet. And this one is basically just kind of retweeting information, hyping it. Sometimes he'll put up an actual tweet saying, here's the link to my new book, and then I would go in and just hit the retweet button and and add my little 2 cents. I would say, if he put, here's my new book and here's the link, I'd be like, at the end of it, I would go, everyone should read this book, it's fantastic, and then add that as a retweet. So those are just 2 examples of something that you can do along those lines. The next one that I want to talk about is hyping them up with a string of multiple authorities. So, let's look at something like this. What I would do is, I would write my tweet out to Pat, and I would include 2 other authority figures that are in the industry that these guys genuinely probably will know each other, and they've been in seminars, conventions together, stuff like that. So I would look to try and connect all these guys together, because they're all, chances are they're all going to see this tweet at the same time. We're hoping that all of Ryan's extensive list might see my tweet that I'm talking about this book. All of David Garland's, his entire list will see it, and then also our main guy Pat, who we're trying to go after, he'll see it as well. And then at the end of it, I also included a hashtag so that I can join a conversation. So if Pat has specific hashtags about his book, and it's called Let's Go, so if it's hashtag Let's Go, I want to join in on that stream of getting into the conversation, being seen, having other people see me. Because it's not only just about getting these industry leaders to recognize me and build a relationship with them, but it's also getting a chance to build a relationship with their followers as well, because we're all talking about things that we're equally interested in. There's a commonality between all this stuff for us. So just keep that in mind. I mean, staying positive, is a really great example of just trying to keep the message going, to keep the conversation going without being spammy or a Debbie Downer where people just don't want to. They read your stuff and they go, oh, here he goes again, that kind of stuff. Another thing that I would tell you would be asking questions. In this example, I'd say, hey, Pat Flynn, what would be the best resource for podcasting? Now, Pat Flynn's a pro at the podcasting stuff, so if you shoot a message out to him, if those guys are really good about their engagement, what Pat looks like he is, you're going to find that there is a good chance, if they see this, that they're actually going to respond to it. And that's, A, it's great because you're getting on their radar, but B, if you have a specific question, you can get the answer. This is instantaneous communication. It isn't a situation where you have hope that you call him and maybe he calls you back and you got to find his phone number and stuff. He's right here for you. He's waiting for you to ask him stuff. It's just another example. Don't be afraid to ask questions to these guys and get the answers that you're looking for. Another one that I would talk about is sharing info. So, here's an example of that. I found a great article on podcasting that Pat Flynn should read. And, what I would recommend doing here is, if you're trying to build a relationship with Pat, create a blog article and talk favorably about Smart Passive Income, his website or his book, and and have a very in-depth article about, why you think that, people should listen to Pat Flynn, and then send him a tweet about it. Say, hey, you were mentioned in this great article, or hey, I talked about you in this article. I think that you do a great job. Please check it out. Because not only if, Pat Flynn might see it, but his entire audience might see it and go, oh, well, we love Pat too, so let's go check it out. I want to read more about this guy that I'm following. So, there are plenty of opportunities. You can be creative with this, but there are plenty of opportunities to get exposure for your website, your Facebook page, whatever you're trying to promote, through the use of, I guess, piggybacking on authority figures. And then the last one I want to talk about is hashtags. And this is a way of just more of kind of, I look at it as, getting into the stream and flowing downstream with everybody else. If we're talking about a common subject, maybe it's not Pat Flynn, but maybe we're talking about podcasting in general. I would say, I'm at the hashtag SMC the social media conference, and I know that Pat Flynn's there as well. So, let's say I'm hoping to try to meet up with him because he's awesome. Well, maybe he doesn't see this because he's got 68 billion followers, or 18,000 people that are going through his feed. But the SMC conference, whatever that hashtag is, that's going to have less of a flood of information coming in. And so the hope is that, maybe Pat will see that on this one, or maybe where all of the people here all have a, like-minded interest in, talking, listening to Pat. So maybe there's an opportunity where Pat goes, oh, yeah, if you want to meet up, I'm going to be at the hotel bar talking to people in an informal setting. You should show up. And then not only do you get to go, but, 10 or 15 other people who see that want to meet Pat, you can all get together and you all have a common interest. You all have something to talk about. It's an immediate networking opportunity that gets your foot in the door. I mean, it's just great. It all started by just starting a conversation on Twitter. I gave you a number of strategies to use to go after someone and try to build a relationship and try to talk to them. The 2 points that I would say this strategy, consistency seriously is the key. If you're not consistent, in your I'm not saying go in and spam them 800 times a day, but if you can find relevant conversations to get involved in and provide valuable information, you need to do it. You need to get in there and you need to take part and you need to take action and get in. And that's the only way you're going to get in front of these guys, and hopefully build a relationship with them. And the last thing that I would tell you is that when you're looking at a particular authority figure, let's say Pat Flynn, for example, let's go in and look. If I'm going in and if I want to see all of the people that are following him, people that are interested. Now, this is obviously kind of skewed because you don't know if all 63,000 people are legitimately following him or if it's just, kind of, Twitter spam. But what I'd recommend doing is clicking on it, and then you get an entire list of every person that follows him. So now I can go through and I say, okay, I provide coaching to cafe and restaurant owners. Okay, well, I'm not in the cafe and restaurant niche, so probably getting with Charlie, maybe not. Maybe it's not the greatest thing. I'm definitely not going to follow this guy because there's no information, there's no picture, it looks fake. But okay, director of engagement. That Paul could be an interesting one to follow. You can use the authority figures list of people to find good networking people. I mean, they're all right here, and at the very least, I could retweet, or I could send a tweet to Paul and say, hey Paul, I really like your stuff. I know that you follow Pat Flynn. He's a great guy. Do you mind following me back? Maybe we can have a conversation. Obviously, you got to get that in 140 characters or less, which sometimes proves difficult, but that's all part of using the platform. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact us, and we're happy to try to follow up and give you some advice on anything in relation to Twitter or other social media platforms. So we hope you have a great day and take care. Bye.